Welcome to the Career Growth Sessions podcast by Destiny Education. I am your host, BJ Barango. In this episode, our guest Ndubuisi Ukwadinachi, a senior database administrator, discusses navigating the digital skills gap. We explore the importance of continuous learning in IT and how online education can bridge the digital skill gap. Leading the conversation is the General Manager of Destiny Education, Amayabo Osarugwe. Let's get started in today's episode.
Thank you once again for joining on the call today. Our very first speaker would be Ndubuisi. So let's get to meet Mr. Ndubuisi Ukwadinachi. So professionally, he is a senior database administrator with over a decade years of experience spanning across different industries, starting out from banking and telecommunications. And so his expertise lies in managing and optimizing complex database systems. His career highlights include serving as a senior database administrator at Go PLC. And so there are so many things about him, and I would like him to just touch a bit about that even as we start out the conversation. Hello, Mr. Ndubuisi, how are you doing this evening?
Thank you very much, Amaya. Very well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good to know that you're doing very well. Thank you for choosing and deciding to do this with us today. I'm just going to run through a couple of questions for you, and I believe these are questions that our audience would really like to know more as regards, navigating the future of work, right? So my first question to you is, given your experience within the IT space, the dynamics of your experience within the IT space, what would you say is the importance of continuous learning within, to be able to be relevant within your career? Taking the context from your experience as an IT, professional with over a decade of experience.
Thank you very much for the question. So the importance of continuous learning in the IT field is something that you cannot underestimate because, first of all, I would like to say that the IT field is very dynamic. It's very, very dynamic in such a way that, for example, you can even relate with, people that are not even in IT. You can relate with your normal phone. Software updates are popping in like every month and every week and so on. Now, imagine those of us that are in IT. For example, I'm a senior database administrator, and I can remember when I started my career as a database administrator back in 2012, and that's like over 10 years ago. And let's say, for example, one of the databases like Oracle database, they've been a lot of, I worked with 8i, then you had 9i, you had 10G, then you have 11G, you have 12C, 18C, 9, like that. So if you're not keeping up, you go out of touch. You can't compete. You can't compete. You lose relevance as an IT person. So it's very important. It cannot be, you can't debate it. You have to continue, upgrading your skills, learning new technologies. That's just one example. There are several others. Imagine every applications like that, they have updates, so you need to update your skills because the previous versions, they don't function the same way. They look exactly the same, but most of the the features are changing. I can give you typical examples if I have time. Like, for example, Oracle database management software, the one for 10G, when the 11G came up, there are tools that, they became easier. There are some features become easier, but if you don't know, you continue to struggle and waste more time, trying to, for example, when they do their, for example, the backup, when you are doing your backup and you're using data pump, and the data pump was introduced in the 11G. And if you are still using the old version, what it does is it helps you run your backup in parallel, so you can do it faster, so it cannot be underestimated. You need to be able to upgrade your skills in IT. Very important. That's just on one aspect. If you ask people that are in the app support, those are in the developers, that's the programmers, they'll tell you too that there are so many other languages now. People are even leaving the normal conventional database management systems into open source, where you have more flexibility, where you can do a lot of things, on your own. So imagine you're still stuck with your old knowledge. You can't fit in, you can't compete. You just notice one morning you wake up and you see that you're already outdated. Companies are not calling you. Nobody's looking at, what you can do. You're out of the market. So that's just it, basically.
Online education helps with upskilling and reskilling, like you highlighted when you were answering your first question. And I was saying to you, congratulations on you just wrapping up your MSIT program at one of our partner universities.
Thank you.
And so for you, what would you say your learning experience at AIU helped you in terms of upskilling and also in terms of maybe bridging any sort of, knowledge gap and things like that?
Thank you very much for the question. Before now, I'd had this skepticism about online education. I used to think that, it's not the real deal, like that. But, my experience at AIU has, completely changed that perception because, it's actually more real than you can imagine, and the quality of education, the kind of, the structures, courses that will make you job ready, up to date. I think prepared by industry experts and so on. So I think it's an amazing journey. Honestly speaking, it's an amazing journey. I can go on and on because, for example, the kind of projects that we did during my study at AIU. Where, real life projects that are, up to date, in terms of upskilling your knowledge as an IT professional. I did the IT management course, I did the IT management course and it was amazing. For example, I could still remember one of the courses where we had, software development, software management life cycle. I'm a database administrator. I know about it, but in the shallows, but getting to AIU, I have the opportunity to now go in depth into software management lifecycle, and the processes. Another example was the emerging technologies. You are exposed to the things that are happening real time. It's like emerging technologies. We talked about autonomous cars, autonomous vehicles, blockchain, cryptocurrency. And these lessons were very practical because, we had a situation where we simulated a purchase of a cryptocurrency. You have an opportunity to simulate a purchase at the beginning of a course. And towards the end of the course, you are asked to, okay, how much did you make? How much is the currency when you bought it? And how much is it now? These are real life experiences. These are things that you think you have a knowledge of them. Until then, you are now taught the nitty-gritties of those new technologies. So it was really an exciting time. It was really intense. The lectures were intense. It's something that it works on your person as a whole. Because the schedules are tight. You have deadlines. So it's not like when my perception before, like I said earlier, I used to think that these are not serious guys. You just go there and you just play. No, you have serious time schedules. These are things that work on your character as a person. You have deadlines, you have targets to meet, and by the time you run through all these kind of systems and targets and schedules that are set for you in a year, you will notice that there's an improvement in yourself, as a person. You are able to keep to time. You're able to meet deadlines. You are able to meet targets and so on, educational targets and skill upgrading targets. So it's an amazing experience, if you ask me.
I like that you shared your experience as well. So what's the school's, approach in assisting, advising? What kind of support did you get? Would you consider it, very useful, your time in school?
Yeah, so that's another thank you very much for the question, Isioma. So that's another very amazing aspect of the educational system in AIU. The support is amazing, because you have this opportunity to reach your professors and your lecturers real time. You can actually schedule a meeting, you can send them a message, they respond, so you don't feel like you are, I don't know how to put it. You don't feel like you are just connecting over the internet and you are just, in a class, but you have this feeling of there's a touch, there's a reach, so I had, in the process, I had several opportunities where I had to, have a one-on-one with some of the lecturers, and their response was amazing. You'll be amazed at, how some of those lecturers are interested in your progress. They are interested in your success. So there is just beyond teaching is I can't start mentioning the names of the professors, but it's beyond the teaching. In deep inside you that these are people that are interested in your progress. They want to see. It's not beyond. It's not about passing or failing. So they want to know whether you're actually practicing what they're teaching you. They are concerned about your success. I had several opportunities where I had a one-on-one with them, and it was amazing. These are industry experts. Nana, and something I like to mention again is that the lecturers at AIU are people that they've done these things. They are professionals. Some of them work for big corporations. Work for big corporations in the US. And they understand what it means by when they are giving you job insights, as in like things that you need to excel in your career. So they are talking from that standpoint. So it's not just lecturing aspect. You can be a lecturer, but there's something extra when you are a lecturer and then you are still somebody who is in the career field. You work, so they give you those kind of insights. Okay, these are the things that you need to succeed when you get out there after education. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's a very good one. And I'll just quickly like to add, with the support and all that you've gotten from the faculty, your professors. So would you say that, studying in AIU has helped you in some way in advancing like your career?
Yes, very well. Yes, very well. So there's a lot of career advancement because, I had some courses in project management and, I've been handling projects in my previous job roles, but, now with after the lectures in AIU, after the process in AIU, it's like you're seeing it from another perspective. It's now professional. You are doing it as, like a way a professional will handle a project. So that kind of exposure. So I can say that, really, it has helped me advance my career in so many ways.
Thanks, Ndubuisi. I think Amaya is back. Amaya, are you there?
Yes, thank you so much. I like the fact that, you were just able to share the fact that AIU gave you more practical hands-on experience. Not just theoretical. And, there's this misconception that you had, debunked, that people feel like, oh, online learning is not a serious thing, it's not a big deal, it's not a serious thing. So I can just decide not to be too serious with it. But I think that the case is different with AIU as well. So my next question to you would be, as regards bridging the digital skill gap through online education, it can be challenging. What are the common obstacles that you observed, whilst you were running your program? And what advice would you give to someone who is thinking or planning to embark on that online learning process?
Thank you very much for this question. Like you mentioned, it can be challenging. It is challenging. I must confess to you, it's actually challenging, very, very challenging because, you are moved from your normal schedule. Your work alone is challenging. Then now combining your work with study, and deadlines and targets, So it was challenging, really, really challenging, because I could remember my very first week, second week, and I was like, are you sure I'm going to pull through? As in, am I sure this is what I want for myself at this time, but at the end of the day, looking back, it's not something like for the other part of your question. I would advise someone who is coming in. It's not something that is not doable. It's actually doable, but so when you get into it and you see these challenges stare at you, you don't give up. That's the only thing I have to tell you. You don't give up. You need to push through, because the challenges will pay off later. You know why? Apart from the fact that you're getting a degree, at the end of the day, you are getting a degree, you are increasing in your skills, you are building knowledge. Yeah. There's this other aspect that molds your character, before you know it, you are now able to keep to time. Imagine sleepless nights, just to make sure that you have, you submit an assignment, you post on a discussion board, you participate, so it molds your character, so it's quite challenging, but trust me, at the end of the day, you would appreciate it. The results, you will love what you get. So that's my advice to someone who wants to, get into that kind of program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I like how you put it, that despite it's challenging, that one has to push through the process. For you yourself, I think you had graduated with the 4.0 over 4.0. So despite the challenge, you had set out a goal for yourself, and you attained that goal. That's to say that it is doable. And just like you talked about the fact that it helps you mold your character. As you advance in life, your schedule will not get less busier, but you'd have to just learn how to navigate it. And so doing that, incorporating it into your lifestyle, helps as you go along with your life's journey. All right. So my next question to you will be that many individuals aspire future-proof, IT skills. Based on your experience, what valuable recommendations would you, offer someone who is embarking on a similar journey? From your bio, you had mentioned you had experience in, telco. You also have experience in banking. So what would you advise a person that is also trying to, tour your path as well?
Okay, so first of all, I'll say to that person, you need to have a passion for technology, because you cannot really succeed in something that you don't like. You don't go into it because other people are doing it or because it pays well. Now, and if I say that, it's not like, if I don't have a passion for it, that means I shouldn't go. No, you can actually develop that passion. That's what I mean. You can develop the passion for technology, and then you can grow and build on it. The truth is, by the time you start, practicing and start, getting yourself in technologies and things like that, you find out that it's something that you truly like, because for me, although I've always liked to, be an IT person, I studied computer engineering in school. And when I graduated, I was looking into the IT direction, but I know people that are very good in my field, in the database profession. And if you ask them what they studied as their first degree, some of them are accounting, and they became very, very good senior database administrators, database architects, and so on. So that's why I mentioned that passion is something that you can actually develop. So don't use my first statement and say, I need to have passion. And since I don't have passion for technology, I don't think it's something I can do. But you can actually develop that passion, and then you can go through that journey. And at the middle of the journey, you find out that you actually enjoy that journey. Most of us are IT people. You notice that, at the middle of journey, it's something you love doing. It's something you like to do. So that's my advice for someone who is looking into getting into tech. It's something that you need to build the passion and just go through it. I've been part of my experience was in the banking industry, and even in the banking industry, I was into application support before I joined the database line. And then from the banking industry, I moved into telecommunication. So it's a journey. So what I would say to that person, just embrace the journey, love the journey, and build the passion. That's all. Thank you.
Fantastic. I think this will be my last question to you. So as someone who, in recent times, we know that remote work has become like a major thing, especially for IT, professionals. As remote work becomes increasingly prevalent, what are the two most impactful techniques or strategies you would suggest to promote individual team productivity, especially when you're working with teams from, diverse geographical locations? What would you advise?
Okay, so thank you again for this question. Remote work, it's something that I see as something that it's actually more effective. I will tell you that it's actually more effective than the physical kind of, at the outbreak of the pandemic, a lot of people saw the advantages of remote work. People think that, if you're working remotely, you are not, producing results and so on. But the truth is, you actually produce more results. You work more, actually, because you wake up in the morning and there's no commute time. You have cut out commute time. That commute time you take, it's stressful and so on. So by the time you are getting to the office, you already maybe like if I rate your maybe like your brain and your brain power by percentage, your brain power is already reduced like with 30% because of commute time, and then you have 70% more to give to the work. But when you're working remotely, you have 100%. You're starting up with 100% and you're giving your all. Then one of the ways you can make it very valuable and people are not left out is via communications. And thank God for technology. We have various tools for remote work that are used for monitoring, communication, the Zoom. Okay, for example, we're having this webinar and we're talking as though, I could remember a discussion I had with someone in 2014. Yeah, was it 2014 or either 2012 or 24? Let's say 2012, for example, 2012. There was no video calling. You can't see the person you're talking to. It wasn't there. I think the first technology then was Skype. Skype brought out the video calling, and it was like an amazing thing. Like, whoa, I can be talking to you and I can see you. That wasn't there. So with those kind of tools, remote work is made easy. You can actually relate with people as though you are sitting next table with them, and both of you can communicate and resolve issues, get innovative ideas, make progress on your work without any issues at all. So I think it's something that with the technological tools that we have, remote work is made easy. I don't think there's I think there's a research too. I can't give the figures now, but there's a research that showed that you had higher productivity with people that worked remotely than people that commute to work. So
wow.
I think that's what I can see for now. There are tools to make it simple and easy.
All right. Okay. So as we wrap up your session today, our final question to you is, what's your advice to someone who's trying to start out in the tech space? And what is the best way they can get a job? And what are the skills that they should possibly acquire that you feel like employers typically look out for in the tech space? I know that it's broad, but what are the common baseline that anybody trying to go into tech, what are the common baseline that they need to have in terms of skill sets? Okay, so
the common baseline, I'll try to be very brief because really, like you said, it's very broad, but I think the common baseline is the support, IT support. IT support entails little, networking, application support, like there's an application, but those applications need support, like for example, if we use this conferencing tool, for example, the Zoom conference, there are people that are back end there supporting it. So I think that's an entry level for someone who wants to go into IT. Because if you notice, if you have done IT support in terms of networking, application support, and just those little things that you've done, you can actually launch out into either cybersecurity, database administration, those other big ones, data analytics, and so on. Like for me as an example, I started with an application. I was doing core banking application support. Like the application that is used for the core banking system. All I did was to support it. That was my entry level, basic So for someone who is trying to come into IT and you're thinking, cybersecurity is large, they won't give me jobs, because you mentioned something about jobs. They won't give me job because I don't have experience. They won't give me this. I need 10 years experience. I need that. I think the best way to come in is IT support. Once you come in as an IT support person, you come in as an application support person, anything on the support line is the baseline. When you start that, then you start developing passion for the big ones. Then you can actually start talking about jobs. You can get the basic jobs with the support. Then by the time you start becoming a professional, you focus on a particular line. And then when you get into that line, then you progress from there and the jobs will start flowing in. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndubuisi. And it's a wrap with your session. Thank you so much for making out the time to come share your expertise and knowledge with us and also with our audience. We are very appreciative of it. Do have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for joining us on the Career Growth Sessions podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Feel free to reach out to us on social media with your thoughts or suggestions for future episodes. But remember, this episode is brought to you by Destiny Education, a career and higher education advisory agency. They offer bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degree programs in various fields 100% online through their partner accredited American universities virtual campuses. Now you can also access a grant that covers up to 90% of your tuition. To get started, log on to destinyedu.com and sign up. A career advisor will connect with you in less than 24 hours to give you more information. You can also send an email to advisors@destinyedu.com and begin your journey. Until next time, keep learning and growing.